Thank you, thank you. I would like to start my remarks this evening with a story I made up. So, although it is fictional, I think it still illustrates the point I am trying to make. So, a few months ago, we decided to do some hiring. We narrowed the candidates down to two applicants and we decided to have individual follow up interviews with them. So, the first one comes up, and let's call her Alba. We have a great interview with her. And at the end of that, we ask her one final question. And that is, next to this building, there is a museum with rockets on display in the yard. What is the height of the tallest one of them? Albert thinks for a minute and says confidently, I got this. I know all about NASA rockets, their performance specifications, their dimensions, payload capacity, etc. The height of the tallest one is the Redstone 5 rocket, and it is 155 feet. Well, that's great, we think. Very impressive. She knew the answer quickly, and is also correct. We're all quite impressed, and Alba leaves. The second person comes up, and let's call her Beatrice. We have another great interview with her, and when asked the final question, she thinks for a moment and says, I don't know, but if you give me 10 minutes, I will find out. And she runs out. Well, we're looking at each other and saying, that's a bit unusual. She's not quite as prepared as Alba was. Well, Beatrice goes outside and walks up to the tallest rocket. She looks up at it and measures the length of its shadow by pacing it. She then measures the length of her own shadow the same way. She knows her height, does a quick calculation, and runs back upstairs to us. The answer she gives us is 150 feet. Now, who do you think is the best prepared? Is it Alba, who gave us the precisely correct answer in 2 seconds? Or perhaps Beatrice, who only gave us an approximately correct answer and it took her a whole 10 minutes? Well, I think you will agree that in this age of Google and smartphones, anyone can look up anything. It's more important to be able to analyze a situation and solve the problem rather than having all the facts in your head. So that gets to the heart of the message I want to give you tonight. And that is that grades are not really that important. Now you might be surprised to hear that after hearing contrary for so many years, and that is understandable. Up to now, with a standardized education, grades are a good way to evaluate your own performance and by which others evaluate you. But as you grow older, they become less and less important. I don't think there's ever been a time when my coworkers and I sat around discussing what our GPA back in high school or college was. That has never happened. So it would be a shame for you to dedicate 4 years towards a number, making it as big as possible, only for its meaning to vanish once you get your first job. So, having dashed that objective, what should you do instead? Well, that answer depends on each person. But I found 3 things that have made a difference to me. And to help you remember them, they are abbreviated into 3 letters: V, C, and I. The V stands for volunteering. As you can imagine by the title, this means going out into the community and performing public service for those that need it. There will be many opportunities that you will find on campus to do that. Not only will your community benefit, but so will you. You will meet many different kinds of people, get to understand their perspective, and solve many real world problems like this. But volunteering does not only mean that kind, but also in the classroom. There will be many times when the professor or instructor will ask the class questions. I want you to raise your hand, volunteer, and become an active participant in your education. Volunteer as much as you can to answer questions, participate in class discussions, and also to be project leader. And this continues, more importantly even, when you are in the workforce. So many times, assignments are handed out informally, in meetings, for example. The boss may need someone to perform a test, write a report, or brief a new person. Volunteer for these assignments. So that was the first letter, V, for volunteer. The second letter, C, stands for comfort zone, as in, do not stay in your comfort zone. I know, old ideas are comforting, but they often lead you to the same routine. Do something new out of your routine and expand your comfort zone. One good way is to make many groups of friends. I think this will be easy in college. You will have a group in your dorm where you live. Then there will be one associate with your major and your classes. You may have a separate one in athletics if you do sports. Finally, there will be social organizations, such as fraternities, such as I was part of one, or other kind of social clubs. Make lots of different groups of friends. Each will have their own dynamic and environment. This will expand your exposure to other thoughts. And if you get tired of one group and need a break, you can easily shift to the other group. Another way to expand your horizons is to take courses in new and interesting things. Perhaps it's a new sport or a dance class. It doesn't matter. Constantly expand your horizons. Another course to take that's really good is public speaking. It is something that will help you many times in life. So far, we've had V for volunteering and C for comfort zone. And last and most important, I think, is I. The letter I for your intuition. Learn to trust it. We have all heard the expression, two minds are better than one. Well, you, sitting there in your chair, you're actually two people also. There's also the hidden you. Some call it intuition. Others, sixth sense or gut feel. And there's also the word instinct. Learn to harness that person as an ally. I do it all the time. However, this takes practice. Just like it took you 18 years to get to this point, learning from your mistakes and the mistakes of others, so do you need to train your intuition. Treat it like a separate person. Two minds are better than one. One way is to note down your hunches when you get them. This way you can go back and see if your hunch was right. Your intuition can also follow along and learn from this also. This is the learning process for it. It also provides you an opportunity to see how your intuition is doing along the way, and will allow you to slowly learn to trust it as it gets better and better. There are so many times when my own intuition has helped me solve a problem or come up with a good idea. So, how can you learn to communicate with your intuition? Well, one way is to clear your mind of interruptions. Go out into nature, for example, where it's quiet and there are no cell phone interruptions. Actually, here is a good tip. Go find a nice stream out in nature. Then take your cell phone and drop it into the water. Yes, I guarantee you it will not ring the whole time you're outside. Here's another way to communicate with your intuition. Do a mindless task. For example, run on a treadmill. Or what I do is mow my lawn. I've gotten some great thinking in that way. Think about it. Your hands, your feet, your eyes, you're all occupied. But your mind is bored to death. It is not doing much. It is able to wander and think and talk with your intuition that way. As I said, exercise is also a good way to do a mindless task. Finally, there's a term known as rubber duck therapy. And that is to find someone to explain your problem in detail. If you cannot find anyone, use your rubber duck that is sitting on your desk. I'm sure many of the teachers here can relate to the occasion of explaining something to a student, and you, as a teacher, suddenly gains new insights into the problem all of a sudden. Well, that is your intuition kicking in, listening along, and understanding and giving you a reinforcement. I believe this is part of the Montessori principle as well, taught here at this school, where children teach each other in order to reinforce their own knowledge of a subject. So, in summary, remember to V, volunteer, C, stay out of your comfort zone, and I, trust your intuition. And this is my last slide. I think this quote is quite applicable here. There is no greater pain to the human mind than the prospect of a new idea. Old ideas bring comfort. They are cozy, familiar, recognizable. But they make you complacent and stuck in a rut where you're always in the same routine. New ideas, on the other hand, allow you to think in different ways. They challenge you. So open your mind to those. In summary, I wish you a long and uncomfortable road ahead of you. And to echo Joshua, who spoke before, go out and make a difference in this world. Thank you.